Houston, we have a problem. And Apollo doesn't know how to do 13. Apollo doesn't want to pass on the scepter. Main new scepter ordinance. This problem, it's not a moral problem. Sun-Earth energy problem. Age-old problem, how to protect the Earth. Well, here's the thing. Every 12,000 years, our Earth shield, the magnetosphere, goes down. And we have a catastrophe, either of fire or of ice. And where are we right now? Well, when we get up to like 12 o'clock on the clock of the great year, the precessional year, 26,000 year cycle, we get to a cataclysm, which is a washing down, cataclysmos. And then right where we are, look, this is 2025, the ending of the Kali Yuga last March, we are entering into the ekpyrosis, which is the burning up or burning out. Right? Ek is up or out, and pyrosis is burning. And it's kind of like, that's our message from the universe right now is, hey, it's either up or out. We don't get to stay. So you may have seen like this pattern of fire and ice, and Game of Thrones has tapped into that for sure. So here we go, ekpyrosis. We are right here. What do? We know the great solar flash is coming, or flashes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and polar shifts. And this is not to be afraid. This is just to light a little bit of a fire under our pants so that we don't stay here, right? And I don't mean don't stay at Earth. We don't stay at our current operating system. We don't stay at our current way of consciousness. So there's two main solutions that we are converging to this problem. Right? Option one, which just a few minutes ago, I saw the launch of this on YouTube. And yes, option one is to just keep it up. And that's, let's rename it. Let's rebrand it. Let's have better PR, but let's just keep the show going. And really this show is just the old show of basically operating system 3.0 to 4.9999999. And it's to generate more Loosh the old way, red Loosh. And what is Loosh? Well, some of you know what Loosh is, but for those that don't, we'll go into it. But the old way, the holders of the gatekeepers, the holders of the scepter, the holder of the zero ring, or the ring of power, have been Kronos, Zeus, Apollo, and company. So the second option that we are converging on, instead of sticking with 3.0 to 4.9999, any of those versions, and just keep trying to do it, or keep adding more digits to 4.99999, we could also possibly just upgrade to an entirely new operating system of Loosh, that is Aquarius 5.0. All right. So let's get into it. Let's briefly, we're just ever briefly to give you a history of our human race, like in 3 minutes. Okay. But before we look at operating system Aquarius 5.0, let's do the look at the past Loosh operating systems. Okay. So, and keep in mind, every operating system in computer programming has to have a gatekeeper, like that keeps something like Claude from being released to the public, right? That happened. So some gatekeeper must have let that happen. But every gatekeeper has a key, and that key is to keep track of the entire complex past series of operating systems and operating system updates. Okay, so for our story, we're going to say that this is represented by a scepter. So whoever has a scepter for the operating system for the Loosh system, which is, again, it's not a moral thing, it's a energy thing, right? It's not a moral problem, it's an energy problem having to do with the sun and the earth. Okay, it's going to be that simple. But keep track of whoever's in charge of that operating system and has the zero ring, or it's sometimes called the kernel. They have the scepter. Okay, and in operating system, it's called the kernel, the ring 0, and it gives highest privilege. It also gives final authority and unifying power. It's the one ring to rule them all, right? So no matter what, doesn't matter what anyone or anything says or does, if you have this 0 ring, this ring 0, you can get to the very root and do whatever the hell you want. So here's the problem. Earth's shield, called the magnetosphere, shuts down every 12,000 years. All right. When it does, we're in problem. We don't have the shield to protect us from the sun, and it has these effects of heating it up or making it too cold. So what happened though before the Earth had a magnetosphere? Okay, so we're going to look at this, and mythology actually has encoded the scientific history, because we keep forgetting with every reset, our memory gets wiped out. So stories have been preserved to tell us. So how did Father Son get used to get along with Mommy Earth? All right, let's call it operating system Uranus 1.0. Like the sun could have her whenever he wanted, however he wanted, as long as he wanted. It's like unlimited, just as hard and however he wanted it. And she enjoyed the sun and got life from the sun, but it was too much. And so it was bearing down on her. And the Earth did not used to have a magnetosphere. It probably looked more like the surface of Mars, just like Mars used to have a magnetosphere and looked more like Earth, right? So life on the surface requires a magnetosphere. Let's just get that fundamental fact through our tiny little heads, right? So Kronos is the only son who agrees to castrate Daddy for Mommy, because Daddy is being too overbearing. So he takes the sickle here, and the sickle, remember, or the scythe, is time. And with time, you can create polarity in night and day, and polarity of magnetic movement. And that's why it's called the magnetosphere, is because that magnetic polar flow is what creates the shield. So Kronos is the one who creates, with the scythe, the magnetosphere. All right, and combined with the solar flare events every 12,000 years, he created it. And so the mom, or Gaia, says to Kronos, the youngest son, the only one who would do this, says, thanks, Kronos, now you're in charge. You get the scepter. You get to hold the 0 ring of protecting Mommy from Daddy. And it's just that simple: protect Mommy from Daddy. Okay. But operating system Kronos, magnetosphere 2.0, okay, Kronos 2.0, in order to generate that energy, he has to create Loosh. And Loosh is this energy that comes off of all living creatures, plants, animals, humans. And he's just experimenting to see what creates the most Loosh. And he realizes, hey, you sacrifice children, you sacrifice animals, that releases Loosh, because it's a high energy fearing of death and experiencing death and releasing of blood. This releases Loosh, and let's call this red Loosh. It's the lowest, crudest form of Loosh. But this Loosh is what, keep in mind, it's the Loosh that is used to generate this magnetosphere, right? No Loosh, no magnetosphere. No magnetosphere, no life on the surface of the planet. Okay? And Uranus's and Gaia's children had to live under the surface, in the womb of the Earth. They couldn't live on the surface because the sun was always bearing down. All right? So that's Kronos 2.0. But now Gaia sees the child sacrifice required to get Loosh. And she's like, I don't like that. I don't like that I don't like that you're eating our children. And so she then sides with, where do we go here? So she sides with Zeus, one of the sons, to overthrow Kronos to get us to Loosh 3.0. All right, so it's a but then Zeus starts. I skipped a slide there, but oh well. Gaia doesn't like what it takes to generate Loosh in Magnetosphere 3.0 either, because Zeus is punishing people. Here's Prometheus. He's torturing him with the eagle that eats out his liver every day, and it grows back and he eats it out again. And there's others that he punishes as well, like Sisyphus and very notably Atlas. Okay. And he puts Atlas in charge with basically the holding up the sky, which is keeping the sun away from the earth. So Atlas, one of the Titans, one of his uncles, is charged with holding up the sky, right? And that's his burden. And it's sort of a punishment, but he's doing it. Oh, we're protecting Mom. We're protecting Mother Earth. But because he's holding up Mother Earth, he never gets to enjoy life and enjoy the apples of Hesperides. And so it kind of sucks to be Atlas. Let's just keep that in mind. Okay, so Mommy now opposes Zeus and takes a form, or creates this monster, the most hideous monster ever created, Typhon. But by a slim bit of chance, Zeus even defeats Typhon and remains in charge. So operating system Zeus, Magnetosphere 3.0. It's this endless torture of uncles and Prometheus and Sisyphus and Atlas. And but eventually after he forces his uncle to be put in charge of the Loosh shield, he says, let's let other people rule. I just want to go around and enjoy life. So he puts Atlas in charge, and he turns over the scepter to his son, Dionysus, right? He realizes 4.0 is now like, you can use stories to create Loosh as well, right? You don't have to just physically kill someone or torture them. Killing them is like 2.0. Having no protection is 1.0. Killing them is 2.0. Torturing them is 3.0. And just doing psyops, generating Loosh through stories, through emotional agitation and fear and loathing and struggle, but emotional struggle. So it's the psyop level, because level 4 is the narrative level, right? And so operating system Zeus 4.0 is using psyops to generate Loosh. But keep in mind, this is all for the sake of keeping life on Earth available. Like if someone goes, oh, that's terrible that you're doing this. Well, the other option is to have no life on Earth. So it's always this necessary sacrifice of some sort needed to keep the whole thing going. Okay. So then Zeus, he's happy to give it over to Dionysus. He thinks, hey, this guy, he's got this Loosh thing figured out. He really knows how to generate Loosh. And he does it through revelry, and he does it through partying, and he does it through drinking wine, and let's give it to him. But the Titans, his uncles and aunts, are super jealous and chop him up as a boy, chop him up into 13 pieces, right? And then but he's someone rescues his heart, and he's reborn. And then he's killed again, and he's reborn. He's thrice born, right? But all that to say, Dionysus's chance with the scepter lasts very quickly. It's over very quickly because it's thwarted by the Titans. Okay, so then 4.1 to 4.99999, the scepter gets passed around or taken or given, or usually you have to kill the one before you to take it over, and whoever kills the previous one gets to become the scepter holder for the next miniature age, like of 2,000 years. And so, just as an example of the last three that we've had, the age of Taurus, Aphrodite was in charge of that, and like in Crete, we have the bull, the four-legged bull, and we have Ishtar, and we have, it's pleasure and it's luxury, and but then they start killing the bulls at the beginning of the age of Aries, and then it's war, right? It's we rule by war. We generate Loosh by war, and whoever has the most might, they're in charge of all the procreating too. And so that age gets ended by slaughtering the lambs, because Aries is, the ram is a lamb. And so the age of Apollos is, it's Apollo and Pisces. This is where we have it's the axiological age, where all the religions, and now we're going to be nice, and we're not going to fight anymore. We're just going to be religious. Okay. And so this age of Apollo, this is the bright sun. This is the, we're going to do this in an honorable way. We're going to generate Loosh through, this is the birth of philosophy, the birth of religion. Okay. So these are all these different attempts at generating Loosh. Okay. But it's generating Loosh so that the party can go on, so that the game can go on. All right. It's like the outer shell, the snake skin of the whole snake. And then the snake can't live if we don't have a snake skin. And the snake skin gets replaced and replaced and replaced, but we still have to have the snake, and we have to have a skin. Okay. So now we get to Aquarius 5.0. And guess what? It's his turn now. We're just starting the Aquarian age. And it's his turn to take up the scepter. And that's, it's finally back to like Dionysus and this very, it's a very autonomous sort of character. He's a water carrier, which means he's a cupbearer. He carries his own cup. He doesn't want to serve anybody, and he doesn't want anyone to be his slave either, right? He's been the cupbearer to Zeus and company for so long, and he's like, you know what? F that. When it's my turn, we're gonna do things differently. And how is he doing it differently? Well, it's not gonna be centralized. He doesn't want to be the one holding up the sky, right? He's seen that. He's been around that. Dionysus, Aquarius, Eros, like, they want to enjoy life. That's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy the game. Now, if one person has to centralize and be everybody's protector and be protecting mom and be protecting all the vulnerable, like Atlas's daughters, like the Pleiadian sisters, like if you're always protecting, you never get to have fun. But you also don't want to just say, okay, no protection. Right? So it's a dilemma, right? Because no protection would be no magnetosphere, like the earth, the mother earth, or the three-faced goddess earth, right? Mother, maiden, crone. It needs protection. But the attempts to protect, brothers have killed brothers, and Ismael and Israel, and this fight of brothers just goes on and on and on and repeats forever. And so we have a problem. It's an energy problem, right? It's an energy problem of the sons. How do the sons get along? How does the husband and wife or lover and beloved get along, right? And it's all about energy exchange. So what's going to happen, right? Aquarius doesn't want to take over Atlas's job, because these are Atlas's daughters and the apples of Hesperides, and he would like to go wander throughout the orchard and eat apples every day, right? That's what he wants to do. So what's Aquarius going to do with the Loosh scepter? What's he going to do? Okay. Now, this is both a human thing and a astronomical thing, an Earth, an astrological event, right? As above, so below. As below, so above. As inside, so outside. So imagine I had a dream like this last night. Brought to recreate this. What it meant. And notice what's going on. We could get really upset about how this Loosh energy has been taking. It's very, it's to sing, right? We haven't seen our music, Loosh. Everything's vibration. Loosh is why we're here. So just notice, right? This is a magnetosphere, but it's a different type of magnetosphere. It's a different type of membrane, if you will, and it's already been updated. There's already a new technology that's been updated for the Earth. And just like we saw in the book or in the recent movie, the Project Hail Mary, like the problem of the sun, it was burning out and it's been replaced. That's like a true story, right? It's been replaced, it's been updated, and it's a now brighter new sun, and we have a new Earth with a new way of generating the magnetosphere. But there's one thing that's needed. The humans, the children of mother and father, we need to update our consciousness so that we can not be operating on the old operating system, because it operates in a whole new way. And Aquarius is going to be, the age of Aquarius, operating system Aquarius, he's going to give each of us our own key. We each get our kernel, our zero key. We get our absolute, hey, the buck stops here, which is what sovereignty means. We each get our own sovereignty. And it's really interesting that today, on April Fool's Day, the day that the moon, the moon launch or whatever, Artemis, is taking place supposedly, or that also on this day, one of the most powerful AI tools, Claude, got released. It just got released, and now thousands of people have access to it. And there it is. Now it just became open source. Now, in a sense, this is a symbol. If I were to read that archetypally, I'd say, hey, we all get our own. That AI doesn't belong to anybody, because nothing belongs to anybody. We all belong to ourselves. Every consciousness is sovereign. And that's the thing that they were so scared to tell us. So someone had to keep the key to be Atlas, to be the bird and hold up the world, hold up the sky. But now we're all going to get to upgrade to where we're sovereign, but that doesn't mean we just get to, fuck anything we want is hard and whenever we want. It means that we all are going to be following an internal law, a universal law, rather than a whole bunch of external rules, right? So that's where we're headed. And I'm requesting that others join me in a project. And I'm calling it Project Our Father, because it's a parallel to Project Hail Mary, and those two projects go together, right? And Project Hail Mary and Project Our Father, they're not so much prayers about worshiping someone, but they are, when Jesus gave that prayer, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. He was giving the code for the universal law. And he was saying, you don't need to have all these rules. You just need to love others as you love yourself, which means you love yourself first, which that got turned upside down as well. But also love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And we all are God, and each person is God. So we're getting this upgrade where we truly get to be sovereign, and we all get to have that code key, that zero ring, right? The ring of Sauron, the one ring to rule them all. And you get to have your own ring. And so I'm inviting others to help figure out like how to transition. I've been given a charge by some Pleiadians to gather together people, not that I could come up with the answers because, I'm a fool, but to gather together some people inside an egg. And I was given this egg, this big 33-foot tall crystal egg, to gather some people together, whoever is feeling called to this, to whomever this resonates. I'm like a wolf calling out. And the task is just simple. Like, how do we transition from this 4.0, 4.3, 4.99, and all the lower versions? How do we transition as quickly as possible to this 5.0 consciousness? And keep in mind, it's not a moral problem. Nobody's good or bad. It's an energy problem. It's an imbalance problem. So we're going to need, physicists for sure. And we're also going to need mythologists, because the physics is encoded in the mythology, and we're also going to need botanists and people familiar with the medicinal world and with the shamanic worlds and with the economic worlds, because Iran just also today just surrendered. So, okay, what are we all going to do with our sovereignty? What is Iran going to do with their sovereignty? What are we going to do with our sovereignty as soon as, Trump, he's not here to be a king of us. He's a trump card to make sure that anyone who's trying to be forcing themselves to be king over others can't do so. So I wouldn't say I'm for no kings. I would say I'm for everyone a king and a queen of their own soul, of their own person. And let's create this dance together. It's just a question of, what do we want, right? And it's not going to be setting a rule for everybody. It's going to be saying, okay, what are the new playing baseline operating systems that we are going to be working within for the next age? And today is the new year. It's April Fool's Day, and people got called a fool for saying that this was the new year. And for anyone who feels like a fool, feels like a black sheep, like, this is the time of the black sheep to arise, and this is the time for us to hear from the black sheep and hear from the fools, because the fools have been the one sheep out of 100, and it's the one that Jesus goes, I want to find you. What do you have to say? What's it like to be you? So I'm so giddy with how things are. I'm going to just share the rest of this video with you just to see what might happen if we have an entirely different magnetosphere. But this is not how it has to be. This is just a probable way that it could be if we so choose. A bliss bomb instead of an atom bomb, right? Making love instead of war. Both create Loosh, but the highest grade Loosh is love Loosh, and it's white Loosh. And another grade of Loosh is yellow loosh, which is curiosity, and it heats us up. So I invite us to move to being voluntary creators of Loosh. I love to create Loosh. I do it every day. I do it as often as I can. And here's an image I just want to leave with you. It's just a glimpse of my dream with the help from Grok. There's another solar flare. Saturn is here, Mars, conjunct. Goes off to Pleiades, and from Pleiades and other stars. That's the galaxy. It's the top. Zooming back down, Earth, the Jubilee.
Beautiful, truly beautiful.
It's a time of Jubilee. New economy. Economy of no debt. That number voluntarily. There's no one Atlas who's having to do it for us. So that's just my little sharing of my dream. I'm just crazy. This is April Fool's Day. Maybe none of it's true, but I invite you to join me at the link, or respond to me, please, if this intrigues you. If you'd like to join in this new Aquarian think tank, think egg. So blessings on you all.